Welcome back. Well, Emmanuel Esangbedo joins us now. He's a public affairs analyst and talking about the rescheduled elections. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
What should we be doing now that this has been rescheduled to ensure that all goes well on the new dates?
I think what we should be doing now is that the candidates, first of all, the candidates should begin to do more, as in communicate more on what they're going to deliver to Nigerians. Because to a large extent, I've watched them, I've watched campaigns, I've followed a lot of them from both parties and even the other parties. The other parties are really not active, but the ones that are very active, they have not been able to convince the ordinary Nigerian how, even what they are going to deliver, how they're going to do these things, milestones as in when these things are going to happen, especially issues bordering on economic matters. You want to create employment for Nigerians. How do you want to achieve that? You want to, for instance, now the budget for this year is already in the deficit. 90% of it is going for recurrent expenditure. So I'm wondering what the candidate, how he wants to get funds to get the job done.
They should be telling us.
Yes.
But we don't know if they will agree to come for a debate now that we have 6 weeks, because they said they had a tight schedule at that time. So within this period, that they should be able to readjust and tell Nigerians that you think. Very well.
That's why, it's really a plus for INEC, but it's a plus for them. It's a plus for them. This is a time for them to really come out and do all of that. They just have to, because they are really not saying anything. That's the truth of the matter. They are not saying anything. The House, especially, because when you look at basically employment matters now, I was hoping that any of the candidates would say, let me make a referral now. The BRT buses that was introduced to Lagos, I remember vividly when the government in Lagos, they said that those BRT buses would come with a workshop to maintain those buses, and that workshop will create jobs for Lagosians. I don't, perhaps the workshop is somewhere on the ground or a road I've not driven past. These are issues. The federal government wants to do X, Y, Z. You want to reform power. Are you looking at the Constitution? Because there's a complaint from Rivers State government at one time that they were generating power, but that they had to send the power to the national grid based on the Constitution, then distribute to the countries. Is that a problem? Are you looking at it from that angle? Are you going to fix the problem from there? Or are we looking at alternative means of generating power? So these many issues, mainly economic issues. So even for me and a lot of Nigerians, when you are telling me you are unhappy about the postponement, I'm wondering, because even if the election is conducted on Saturday, or it's on the 28th of this month, it will still boil down to what do you have? How are you going to hit the ground running when you get into power?
Well, I mean, for some Nigerians, maybe not many Nigerians, there were genuine concerns, let's say genuine disappointment, maybe personal family engagements and what have you, all of that is there. And then even for some companies, the ability to be able to plan, it messes up plans for quite a number of people, companies, individuals, you name them. But you also see a very bright spot here, which is the thoroughness of the campaigns. For political parties, it's been one big money spending spree in terms of what we've been saying in terms of campaigns and rallies and what have you. And it would seem that the meat of the message that we also have been getting from them has not even been put to the test.
That's true.
So you do see an opportunity here for Nigerians and the political parties.
Yes.
What about INEC?
The INEC, I've worked for a firm that provided a service for INEC sometime. And I've said on this program, back when your building was at Maryland, that one of the problems we have in Nigeria is civil service. It's a big problem because there's no competition for the civil service, so they do things, And I don't know how the politicians hope to curb this excess. I don't know. INEC has failed Nigeria in this regard. You see, as they've been saying,
well, in terms of curbing the excesses of civil service? Or?
No, civil service mentality, bureaucracy, moving issues, not being able to loop a process to get a required result. Following a serial connection in execution of projects. Whereas you can have a parallel connection to it, which is a looping. You can, if a customer, a client, calls someone someone calls me and says, look, a client calls me and says, listen, I need XYZ within 72 hours. The email that will come from that client's rep, and I will look at it and see the seriousness in it, and see those he has copied, and know the language with which he conveys that message. I will wait and know how serious it is, and I'll hit the ground running to deliver. But that is a looping system now. Even without documents, without a contract paper signed, I understand the language. Now I would have suggested that in places like INEC, they will have such system in place for a PVC issue like this. Very vital. So instead of going through the systems approach of, okay, a serial connection thing, the MD, you know what I mean, serial, going down and down and down the chain, you just loop a process or the entire process to get the result done, because you are actually not, I understand they were imported. The cards were imported, produced outside this country, not by Mint, not by CBN Mint. So if that was the case, okay, let the document flow, but let the job be going on.
Quite a number of people talk about the postponement, what they think, but do you think we focused enough on the other issues, such as with respect to the May 29 date being sacrosanct? Judiciary, for instance, tribunals have been set up to ensure that they handle some of those cases in good time. People talk about Section 52 of the Electoral Act, how some persons may go to court and tell you using electronic cards and capturing thumbprint electronically is part of the process of voting, which the Constitution Electoral Act says, look, no electronic voting. Are we focused on some of those key issues enough as much as we have on the rescheduling of the dates?
No, we have. I think that's where INEC comes in again. You see, it's so sad that, most of the time, I have friends who have sent proposals to these people. I don't know if they just thrash them. We have intelligent people out there. I'm sure they are in INEC, but INEC should deploy some of its workers to begin to educate Nigerians now. The National Orientation Agency should get to work right now. I'm not hearing from them. You see, that's why I'm. Some of us are really not happy with the civil service. You get down to work. You are there to work. What are you doing? Just come and enlighten and go to INEC, get the information. The building is there. The fence is not even too high. The gate is always open. Ask questions.
How much can INEC do in the face of looking at the country historically speaking? We've had FEDECO, we have NEC, we've seen what they were doing at that point in time in terms of sensitization. But we've also had, MAMSA, we've had DIFRA, we've had NOA. So at present, what else can we do in addition to the form INEC is passing on?
First of all, it's going to start from reformation in the civil service. That civil service must be drilled. I don't know how the president is going to do it. He has to do it. Whoever is going to be in power, whether state or federal, they really have to drill the civil service. If you have to fish out ghost workers and get ghost workers so that you can have the real men on hand and on deck doing the job, fine. But that process, look, if we don't do it now, if we wait for 50 years, we'll come back to it. If we don't do it now, 50 years' time, we'll be back here having to work with our people in this process. Because the willingness to work, I think, is there. Some of them are good, some of them are serious with their job. I know policemen who are serious, they want to do their job. If you go to multinationals and you see the policemen, assigned to those multinationals, you know what I'm talking about. They deliver well. Are you following me? So somehow, the government in place, that's why we need our fathers now who are campaigning to begin to say those things. They must sit down, think, surgically look at the system very well, and see how they can better it. Because it would be sad if in 2019, whoever is in power it comes across as a blabber. He basically comes across as a blabber. We're like, hello, you weren't even prepared for the job, because we're going to get to that stage very soon. The apathy among Nigerians now from preventing us from picking our PVC card. There are a lot of people who are laid back now. Did I just feel?
Even with this extension and more time that they
INEC
have.
knows. They've said it before. People are laid back. Some just don't care.
But you still have many. For instance, Micah says, look, it's not true that INEC has all the PVCs at the polling stations. He was at Ajuan yesterday and still could not find his PVC. So hopefully, this kind of cases, could they be maybe in the one less than 0.5%?
No, there are cases that there are cases like that. I went there 3 times before I got mine. The 3rd time I got mine. There are cases like that. And there are cases where if you go there, you see cards in Ghana must go bags. My own location was at the Igwefo, Lekki area. I got there, I saw bags. They are there. Cards are there, and they are people's cards. But there's apathy. People don't want to get involved in politics for various reasons.
Some of them also say that, I mean, they keep writing saying, look, they think INEC should revisit the deadline for transferring your data from one center to the other when you have moved location, because quite a number of people have moved location, and they think INEC should give them that opportunity now that we have this window to move their data such that they can vote where they find themselves now, haven't gotten their PVC.
Yeah, that's where technology comes in. These are things, Professor Jega is a professor, but I think it's unfortunate that he finds himself in a setting where he may not be able to really effect 100% control or really deliver what he has in mind, or be able to round up workers, not round up, but just get the workers together and then let them know his mind and deliver based on what he was assigned to do in INEC. It's unfortunate. But that being said, it is necessary for him, because he had 4 years to have been able to engage professionals in those areas. If, I mean, the technology is there. If, I don't want to mention certain establishment now that have stuff for, technological advancement where you can get, well, this is available on planet Earth. And he had the phones. If he didn't have the phones, probably he would have complained. We had the phones, he had the time. So what he needed to have done was to go round intensively. You can't even go around on your internet. Thank God for Google today. You can sit on your desk, a phone call, you are talking with 6 people around the world. You can have a conference call in your living room, you can Skype. So I wonder what in God's name is wrong.
Well, thank you, Emmanuel Esangbedo, Public Affairs Analyst, giving his perspective on the situation with the elections. We'll be back after the break. Join us again.